is a member of Virginia Opera's Herndon Foundation Emerging Artist Program. Last season, she appeared in La Cenerentola, and this year is scheduled, God willing and the creek don't rise, was scheduled to appear in Pirates of Penzance, Johnny Skiki, and Marriage of Figaro. Adam, welcome to Rotary Opera, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Gus, for that wonderful introduction. And I, too, have great memories of that time together during Rappahannock County, that world premiere between the Arts Festival and Virginia Opera. That was a really special moment for our community and a memory I'll hold dear for many years. Well, it's a great pleasure to be with all of you today in these unusual circumstances that tends to be the refrain of every opening speech that you give. But you know, that since March, we've been, as a team at Virginia Opera, talking about what can we do? How can we continue to be of service to our communities throughout the state? How can we enrich lives through the power, the passion of opera? And it's all that goes within it. These voices that need a stage. And when everything shut down in March with our Aida, we had to cancel our performances of Aida. We were 1 week from opening night. And that was a chorus of about 40 people, a lot of out-of-town guests, freelance artists, singers that rely on that income, who had their contracts cut short. And their voices have now been silenced, many of them, for over 6 months. So it immediately went to the board of Virginia Opera and all the staff. We brought together a team, a task force. We met a few times a week to talk about what can we do? How can we get as many artists as possible back to work and as many artisans behind the scenes, set builders, costume shop, wardrobe builders, wigs and makeup, backstage crew, ushers, all kinds of people that are affected by the unemployment right now. And we started dreaming about in-person performances, about digital, anything we can do virtually that still gets us connected to our audience and maybe even broadens our audience base and introduces more and more people to the world of opera. And so in July, we came up with the initiative, Staying Alive. And, you know, it immediately calls to mind, of course, the Bee Gees classic, but it also, it calls to mind this idea of anything we can do to stay present, stay relevant, stay in people's minds and in their hearts or souls if they need it for this music, so that we exist as a company a year from now or whenever this pandemic is fully over and there's a vaccine and we can all safely gather again inside the theaters. We need to stay alive until then so that we still have that platform and the company for all of these artists and artisans and all the other folks affected by employment with Virginia Opera and other arts organizations throughout the town. So with that initiative, Staying Alive, we found the funding for 4 singers. They're emerging artists, including the one that's with us today, Whitney Robinson. And we brought them in about 3 weeks ago, and they had a 2-week mandatory quarantine so that they could create their own pod, that they're safe and they hold each other accountable and they're responsible. They don't go to bars, they don't go to restaurants and socialize with strangers. They're just their artistic pod that is available to perform and also to train and learn behind the scenes and cultivate their voices and their talents and skills. And so we've been performing now for about a week and a half. We produce digital content, and we also have analog content, I like to say, those physical in-person concerts, including a curbside concert in your neighborhood, a parking lot pop-up if you want. We have every Wednesday at the Harrison Opera House on the steps, what we call our weekly Wednesday wind down. So after you've had your Wellness Wednesday with Virginia Stage Company, come to the Harrison Opera House and sit out on the lawn in a socially distanced circle and wind down with the opera. It's a great way to have the best of both worlds. And we're also, every Monday this month, we're participating in Open Norfolk. There's a neighborhood spot pop-up out at 5 Point, Sewell's Point. We actually performed there last night to a crowd of about 50 people, and it was an hour-long pop-up concert featuring opera, Broadway, Disney, all kinds of stuff. And there were folks there in the audience that I've never seen in an opera house. I've never seen them at a performance of opera, and that's key to the mission of what we're doing, is expanding our reach and getting to as many people as possible with this amazing art form. So I would love to have Whitney Robinson talk a little bit about the program. Whitney, as Gus said, is a mezzo. She was with us last season. She's returned this season. She says she's very familiar with Virginia Opera and all that we do. And you know, of course, she was looking forward to the main stage this year, and we're still gearing up for that in the spring. But in the meantime, she's helping us stay alive, and she's a part of this residency program. So I'd love for Whitney to speak a little bit about, you know, this pandemic and its effects as her as an artist, how she's had to kind of pivot in this new world and become her own film company and discover skills that she never knew she had. And also talk about some of those first reactions, those connections to the audience that she's seen in this first week and a half or so of performances. So Whitney, take it away.
Hello, everybody. This pandemic has been crazy for artists because so many of us have found silence and just no place to go. In March, I was really lucky to be with Virginia Opera as they honored my contract through the end, which was amazing. And they made sure that we were safe and we got home safely, and that was wonderful. And then my summer plans also were canceled. But again, the companies came through for me, and I was able to do a digital summer program with Opera Saratoga where we got Zoom coachings and produced some online content. And it really has been an adjustment. You do become your own stage crew and lighting designer and photographer. And while like it's hard to pivot and transition in that way, it's so great because you get this whole new idea of self-sufficiency. And we're also, in addition to like keeping opera in the lives of people who love it, we're reaching so many new people through all these new mediums of digital content and these outdoor concerts that we're doing, which have just been thrilling. The last like week and a half has been such a dream because you don't realize how much you miss something until it's gone. And so when we got to perform for the very first time this last week, it was the most amazing experience to feel that energy and that connection with an audience come back and really feel what it's like to perform and to give that experience to someone who loves it or who is experiencing it for the first time. And even just last night, we did an outdoor concert and we did our sound check and we're sitting down waiting for the concert to start. And this little kid comes around on his bike, with his mask on, and goes, "Y'all are great. Loved your singing." I was like, that's so cute. And then we did our whole first set and he did another loop around on his bike and he was like, "Still awesome. You guys are looking so good." And it was wonderful because this little kid got to be on his bike the whole concert and enjoy opera for the very first time. And so it really is an adaptation. Like we are bringing this to new people that wouldn't get it inside the opera house. And so that's been thrilling.
You know, Whitney, it reminds me, you've heard me say this many times, and I know Lisa's heard it as well. I feel like these times are apocalyptic. We're all feeling so anxious and helpless at times, but apocalypse keeps coming to mind. And I listened to a podcast, I'll just share this as a final thought with everyone. When you look at the word origin of apocalypse, it's not so bad. It means revealing or uncovering. And that's truly the origin of the word. And when I realized that, I thought, yeah, maybe these are apocalyptic times, but it's revealing to me what has been missing, what was most important in my life. And in working with these artists, I've missed it so much. And after 6 months of being silenced and not able to engage with our audiences in this performance platform, it's amazing to be back in business and of service to our communities and reaching so many new audiences. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to stay alive so that there's a platform for Whitney and for so many more artists and artisans in the spring and beyond, so that we have a company that's solid and viable going forward. So that's my final thought. I don't know if there are any questions or anything that we can answer for you. I'd love to take any questions if you feel that's appropriate.
Anna, before we go on to questions, can you give us a brief rundown of what is intended to be produced this season?
Yeah, so this season, we're actually beginning with the main stage in January, February, with a double bill of Poulenc's La Voix Humaine, The Human Voice, and Puccini's Gianni Schicchi, from which you hear that famous aria, O mio babbino caro. You always hear that on America's Got Talent. That's the show it comes from. And then we'll follow that with The Marriage of Figaro in March, and then The Pirates of Penzance in April. And of course, we're going to be staying tuned to all the mandates and restrictions, and we'll follow all guidelines from the government. But that's the plan currently, and I know that the Virginia Symphony, we intend for them to be in the pit, but we are exploring all options. We're talking outside, thinking outside the box, talking about, okay, well, you know, Pirates of Penzance and Marriage of Figaro, those are chorus shows, and they're both, you know, 2 or 3 hours in length. Perhaps we need to consider shortening the length of opera to where there's no intermission, to where you just come in, you're at the opera for 2 hours, and then you go home, so that we're minimizing contact potential in the lobby and things like that. So all options are on the table because we want to ensure the safety of our audiences, but we really desperately want to get back to performing on our main stage.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So what, I want to come tomorrow. So what time is it tomorrow? And it's just on the lawn, just singers? I mean,
yeah, the weekly Wednesday wind down. It features all 4 of our singers. It's on the front lawn of the Harrison Opera House. It starts at 5:30.
Okay.
So, and you can come as early as 5 p.m. and stake out your socially distanced circle on the lawn and bring a picnic. We had a great turnout last week, but I think, you know, with the governor's easing up on the restrictions for Hampton Roads recently, we're hoping that we can have more than 50. I know that we've kind of reassessed our permit, and we're working on that with the city, but we hope to do that. And of course, 5 Points, Sewell's Points, the next 2 Mondays of the month of September. Come out and see us there. I see Lisa Sands has a question.
I just wanted to mention, for no reason whatsoever, but we're also going to be performing at a place called the Norfolk Botanical Garden. And if you're a member, you want to go on the website and register. My friend Leslie called me, and I think the first time we performed there on September 24th, I think all reservations are already taken. So make sure that you go on the website, because we're also performing on October 1st, and we're also performing on October 8th. So there's going to be a number of times that we're at the Botanical Garden. And then we're also, the morning of September 19th at 10 a.m., we're going to be at the Virginia Zoo. So we're really looking to be outside so Whitney can sing safely with her big, fabulous voice, and to see a lot of people. And let me just say one thing about last Wednesday. The best part of Wednesday was being in the front lawn of that opera house and one young man going by on his bicycle. He was like 30, and he stopped and laid his bicycle down and listened to opera for the first time ever. And I think Adam saw a couple who were literally running by the opera house who stopped and stayed for a little while to listen to the concert. So very casual, very fun, and we hope to see you on the lawn of the Opera House.
And we have lots more events that we'll announce that are on our website or on our social media channels as well. Almost every day of the week, there's either a curbside concert in someone's neighborhood or an event like Lisa mentioned at the zoo or the Botanical Garden and whatnot. So,
Barry, did you have a question? Now, I wanted to make a comment, if I could. I wanted to commend Adam and the team for how they handled the cancellation for Aida. My wife and I, we were very disappointed, but we were very happy with the expeditious way in which they notified us about the cancellation. And I also wanted to put a plug in for Arts for Learning. I'm on their board, and everyone in the arts community is really trying to reinvent themselves so that we can maintain that reputation of being a location here on the East Coast for art and performances similar to what we're talking about today. So again, my hat goes off to the team for a job well done and how they handled those cancellations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Michael Desplaines.
Hey, I just want to add that thank you, Lisa Sands, but we are completely sold out at the Garden. So you snooze, you lose.
Wow, that's fabulous.
It really is. And we extended it too. We were limiting it to 50. And then on Friday, when we found out we could increase, we've gone up significantly and it's sold out again.
Wow.
Any other questions for Adam or anyone from the opera?
Whitney, I do have to ask you a question I've never gotten to ask you. What is your favorite aria to sing?
Oh, that's tricky. There's so many good ones, and they're all good for different reasons. I think one of my very favorites to sing is Re della Vampa from Il Trovatore. It's just a very dramatic piece, but it's also so simple, and so there's a lot of opportunity for acting and just displaying the character of the piece.
And Whitney, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're singing that tomorrow night, aren't you, at the weekly Wednesday wind down? So tomorrow, 5:30, you can hear Whitney sing her favorite aria of all time. That's, I think that's a win-win.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Whitney, when you do your digital performances, how do you manage the accompaniment?
So over the summer when I was doing digital performances, they actually made accompaniment tracks for us.
Oh.
And I would put it in my headphones and I would sing a cappella seeming, and then we would match them up over. And then here, I'm so lucky to have real pianists right there to back me up. And that would be Maestro Adam Turner and Brandon Eldridge, the chorus master and assistant conductor.
Oh, good. Good. Thank you.
I'd like to, I think in the last 25 years, Norfolk has taken a principal role in the whole East Coast, in the whole arts world. And I really worry about, between the departure of Norfolk Southern and the COVID, that it must be just hammered on all fronts. And I'm just curious to know, I hope somebody would assuage my anxiety about that. Gus, even, you got any thought about that?
Gus, you need to unmute.
It's a tough environment out there, and everybody's scrambling to, try and get their part of the pie. So I think, when you see what Virginia Opera's doing, and what Adam, you read about his vision. They have a new general director and CEO who was announced last week because Russell's retiring. I think you got what appears to be, at least on paper, a very dynamic duo that will be looking after Virginia Opera very well. And, it's I think all the arts are in a pretty good spot. They just got to do their best to survive and get through this. And hopefully within the next year, everybody will be doing more. I don't want to say back to normal, but doing more.
Gus, the only thing I would add to that is that it's, you look at an organization like the Met and how large that organization is, the Metropolitan Opera, and what they must be going through. And an organization our size, and like the Virginia Symphony and the Stage Company, we're of a size where we can be nimble. We can dance with this this situation a little bit and try to stay on our toes and be as flexible as possible. And that's what, since March, I mean, you've seen us with the AIDA cancellation to restructuring our season to creating this fall campaign. All this stuff is just trying to dance with the uncertainty and figure out what we can do instead of what we can't do. That's what we really want to do. And we'll continue to do that. We'll continue thinking outside the box. And Gus, you mentioned our new CEO and General Director, Peggy Dye. She comes to us from Opera Columbus in Ohio. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to have her on board. It's been an honor to work alongside Gus and Russell over the years. But I'm thrilled. This is our first female director of the company in 46 years. So this is a historic moment for Virginia Opera. And I think there's tremendous opportunity. So the doors are open to so much exploration.
Adam and Lisa, congratulations on pivoting, I think they now call it, but still involved with the arts. And those arts organizations, similar to you, when you take the attitude that you're the parent of an adolescent right now, and that if you're lucky, you will be the parent of a mature adult for a lot longer, and really creating things that will have a life expectancy post-COVID, that the organizations that are looking through COVID and into how can this be a blessing? And I think the idea of taking the arts to the streets is just so cool, because when you go back, as Adam, you've taught me over the years, the arts used to be in the living room or in the cave. And then they went to 2,500 square foot theaters. And I think this is an opportunity to really go back to the essence of who we are in the arts organizations, and then dwell on that rather than filling large theaters. So congratulations for taking it to the streets.
Thank you, Bob. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Bringing opera back to earth, taking it out of this elitist stereotype. It's not that. It's for everybody. And that's what we want to do. I thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Adam, Whitney, and Lisa for joining us. We're thrilled to have you here, and we think it's really neat what your organization is doing, to stay engaged with the community. It really is it's a tribute to it's a tribute to everyone's talent and professionalism. I did want to let you know that our club has a soft spot for literacy, especially amongst our youth. And what we do in honor of our guest speaker is we present a book in your honor to our school of the week. And this week, our school is Jaycox Elementary School. So if you're ever at Jaycox, give us a little while to get it there when schools reopen. But you will find in their library a book engraved in your honor. So we appreciate you being here, and thank you very much. Before I dismiss everyone, I want to ask one favor. One of the things that we were discussing at yesterday's board meeting was the possibility of perhaps having an in-person meeting for our October meeting. So, but we would like to get a little bit of input from you. So here's the question. I hope everyone can read it. And if you can just answer and let me know, that would be very helpful to us. Barry, you have a question? Go ahead and unmute, Barry.
Is it possible to have a combination meeting in October?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If we do something in person, it will be, we still will be offering a a remote option.
Thank you. For our immune compromised members, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. That goes without saying. Well, okay. Thank you for your input. It's going to be a while before we get together again because September is one of those 5 Tuesday months. So our next meeting will be October 6th. You'll be getting some information just to confirm where that might be and what form that might be taking. But our guest speakers will actually be 2 of our own, Sigur Whitaker and Joey Rothgary, will be talking about a trip they took to Lake Como in Italy. So thank you for coming. Thank you to our guests for joining us. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And also I encourage you to take a look at our website and see if you want to join the club on Thursday for the cleanup at the park. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Good meeting, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, did you see my question?
Did I see your turn? I did get the email. I'm checking with Lisa to find out. I think
Okay.
probably what we're going to end up doing is just asking you to stop and reissue.
Okay, yeah, after you
Okay.
find out from her. It was strange that one of the 2 got deposited and the other one didn't. So it would indicate to me that it could be there somewhere in the office. So I
Okay.
appreciate checking, but
Yeah,
Hey,
I'll
Jim.
check with Lisa. I'll check with Lisa and Ann, and we'll get back to you.
Hey,
Thank
Jim,
you.
I'm on the phone. Can you hear me?
Hi, Lisa.
Yes, Lisa.
Okay, yeah, so Ann has addressed that issue. I'm gonna tell Ann to give Barbara a call because we've already searched. Ann says she has one and she wants to put a stop payment on the other, but then tell Ann to give her a call.
Hey, Lisa and Barbara, I did email you right away on Saturday when I got that. Did you not
Didn't
get
get it. And I've checked my junk files folders
Oh,
too
okay,
before I
well,
put anything on here.
As far as I know, it is not here, and you're right, it did not